match, like I said, coming up is going to be Ro8 against Dreiven. This is I'm really looking forward to this matchup. It's the last Terran in the tournament, and you know, weak spot for Terran Artosis because they are the weaker race, and it's just nice to see someone, you know, kind of get lucky and get in the top 8, eh?
Yeah, you know, Terran, of course, being the harder race. I don't know about weaker, but harder for sure, as is shown here by just one Terran in the top 8. Go, Brat. I'm cheering for you, buddy.
That's okay, that's fine. Brat did really well. He came in top 6 in the ladder, and of course, if you weren't familiar with the TSL during the ladder stage, we actually had 1,700 gamers participate in this tournament. For 3 weeks, they battled through a brutal ladder on IC Cup. Again, big thanks to IC Cup for the great work they did. And Ro8 came in the 6th. He was the top-rated Terran player in the ladder. Required hundreds of games played, and really, he was unknown to quite a few people before that time. But once he made top 6 in the TSL ladder, you're sure everybody knows his name now. After that, he went to because he was top 16, he went to the second qualifying stage. And he was in a tough group with 2 Protoss and another Terran. He took his first series 2-0 against Tarson, a Polish Terran player, and then he beat Excello Noni, who's an excellent Protoss player. He beat him 2-1 to make it to the top 16 players. So to beat Noni in a series speaks volumes for his Terran versus Protoss ability, eh?
Oh, it definitely does. Noni is just one of the absolute top Protosses right now. He's got to be one of the favorites in all of TSL. He's just been showing results after results after results, and for Brat to beat him, you know, being a relatively unknown, as you said, before this ladder, that's really impressive. And, you know, but he's going to have his work cut out for him here with Dreiven, another big favorite for this tournament.
Yeah, Dreiven has done very well, and actually Dreiven is the only player out of the 4 we're watching today who did not make the top 16 in the ladder. So he was in that range from 17 to 48, and those players were the ones who had to play an extra qualification round. They had to play a do-or-die best of 3 in order to make the next round. And so he went head-to-head with another Russian player, ROKX, and he beat him 2-1, and because of that, he was able to make the next round. Now, a funny story about Dreiven in the next round is that he was actually late for his group. He was unable to make it due to having to go to a barbecue, which is thus the nickname Barbecue Toss that he's got. And so he got a walkover in the first round, made it for the second round, and scrapped his way up from the bottom of the ladder by beating a third Russian Terran Advocate, and then taught Squall, a Zerg player, in the finals of that group. So, just a really great story from Dreiven. He's a fan favorite. He gives excellent interviews, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how well he can do here. First matchup for this round is going to be Wuthering Heights, which we've seen in action already today. The Game 2 will be Blue Storm, Game 3 Othello, Game 4 Zodiac, and Game 5 will be Wuthering Heights again if necessary, and I sure hope it is.
Yeah, I hope so too. I really want to see Brat 3-2 this poor Dreiven kid, and hopefully we'll see that. This Wuthering Heights map, we have seen it played several times. It leans a little bit towards Protoss, and we saw Draco here versus Strelok, and I mean he just tore him apart here. So Dreiven is going to be wanting to, maybe download those replays, see what Draco did that was just so successful here.
Yeah, but Ro8 is a bit of a specialist against Protoss. He went 62-29 against Protoss, and I mean, that is just a ridiculous statistic. So, I mean, we're going to have to see if he can get it done versus Dreiven. I think if any Terran could, Ro8 is the guy to do it.
Yeah, the latter stage was very Protoss dominated as well. It seems to be the majority of the best players do play that race, although there are a few oddballs that play Terran. But other than MYM.Dreiven, Draco was number 2 and Yaiba was 3rd on the ladder. So Ro8 had a lot of practice against Protoss during the ladder stage, and we'll see how well it pays off here. Just about ready to go here. Hotbit, why don't you hit that video? Let's get started with the second matchup.
showtime.
Here we go. This is the round of 8 of the Razer TSL. We have bottom left on Wuthering Heights, Brat OK, the Russian Terran player, a true monster, and bottom right we have Dreiven from MYM, and he killed MYM.Dreiven last round, of course, 2-0, just brilliant play. Definitely one of the favorites of this tournament, and you know what, this is really exciting for me being a Terran player here, watching the last Terran left. He's in the top 8. He's really making a name for himself in this tournament. And you know, Chill, I got to ask you, who are you rooting for here, and who do you think's going to win?
Well, I mean, this is quite a polarizing match for me. On one hand, Brat OK is the only remaining Terran. I mean, that speaks volumes about his play. But Dreiven has been a guest on TL Attack. I appreciate his interviews. I like the guy's style, and I'm going to cheer for Dreiven in this matchup.
That is exactly what I thought I'd hear out of you, treacherous Zerg scum. Well, we are all of us going to root here for the one last Terran player, Go Brat. So we see now their starting spots are actually pretty close. This could definitely work out in the favor of Brat. You know, especially if Dreiven scouts up. You know, if he scouts up, he's not going to be able to pressure Brat so easily. Brat's going to feel fine. He's going to get a nice opening going. He's going to be close enough that he can actually push this Protoss base fairly quickly.
Yeah, and we do see Dreiven is scouting the wrong way. Brat has not blocked in his natural, not walling. He's decided instead to put the barracks beside his command center. He does that so he can hide Marines between the two buildings if need be. Now putting up a refinery, clearly going towards factory units as we see in all TVPs. And everything looks standard. Dreiven taking his assimilator, his gateway about to finish, and we're going to see a cybernetics core going up pretty quick.
And I got to point out, Dreiven has scouted towards the north, and now he's going to scout towards the top left of the map. And this is really nice for Brat. It means that there probably won't be an early sellout because Dreiven just doesn't know where he is. Now, if he had scouted Brat first, he may have made that zealot, went over and harass, and he would already be attacking Brat while Brat just tries to get a tank out. And so, you know, Brat's going to have a nice opening here.
We can see 3 SCVs on gas now, 2 taken off, so only 1 SCV on gas. Can you give us a look at what that might mean?
Well, taking a couple SCVs off, I'm going to guess because it's a flat map, we're going to see an FD Terran opening. You know, he's going to make a bunch of Marines and then a tank and spider mines. And what this is going to allow him to do is pressure the Protoss right off, you know, turn the tables around. Normally, Protoss is the one that applies pressure on Terran early, but with the FD Terran build, not only do you get a quick expansion, but you can press Protoss off, and it's, you know, it's just a safe build. You have the mines to stop any sort of DTs or any, you know, 2-3 gate rushes. You've got the tank, you've got the Marines, so you're not going to die to any goon pressure. So, you know, if that's the build he's going for, which is what it looks like, that's a really smart and nice opening, especially for this map.
Now, I'm not an expert on the history of StarCraft build orders, but I believe the FD came from, there was a 2-factory Terran build called the Bamboo Rush or the Gundam Rush that was really strong against Protoss for a while. It would basically just crash them with a tank and a bunch of vultures and Marines. But the FD is a fake double, so you have enough units that it looks like you have 2 factories. It looks like you went double factory, but you actually only have 1 factory looking to expand, and hence FD is for fake double.
That is exactly correct, and some people think, oh, fake double, what do you mean double expand? No, it is the double factory that he's faking. You know, the Protoss will see that rush, and they aren't going to know exactly, you know, is that 1 factory or 2 factory? Because you pretty much go as soon as your tank is out and you rally the vultures. So the timing is really confusing for Protoss. Sometimes they'll have to play a little bit more defensively, and this just gets Terran further and further ahead because they make that command center so quickly.
We can see Dreiven lost his scouting probe to a bunch of Marines, so he's not sure of what's coming. He must expect an FD given the Marine count, but can't be sure of it as he lost that scouting probe. He's actually taking his natural Nexus now, trying to send another probe to see what's coming. We can see a tank and several Marines moving out, and an SCV. It's going to take great micro from Dreiven, who has Dragoon range finishing now, to be able to hold this off. Of course, ranged Dragoons should be able to beat Marines with perfect micro. We're going to have to see how he does. Brad OK is moving in now. Dreiven trying to dodge the Marines and just take them out so he can move in against the tank. Just trying to cycle those Dragoons as well as possible. Brad OK, of course, not trying to kill Dreiven with this attack, just push him back enough to set up an expansion. Mine's now done for the Terran, and he is looking to lay enough mines. Dreiven defending beautifully, actually, snipes that mine, and now moves in against the tank, only losing a single Dragoon so far. There goes the second Dragoon, but really nice defense by Dreiven to get his expansion up so early, and deny the scouting SCV. Wow, brilliant play by Dreiven. Now he only has to defend against vultures.
Oh, Dreiven just... That was brilliant, as you said. I mean, he killed the first tank, he killed every Marine. What do you lose? One Dragoon? There's 2 spider mines in front of his base, so he can't just run out right now. But that was as good an opening as Dreiven could ever get right there. I mean, that was beautiful. And whenever you lose that first tank as Terran in TVP, that is painful. And so he's definitely going to be behind here. It's going to be hard for him to be aggressive again anytime soon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, most of when Protoss expands this quickly, they usually have quite a bit of trouble against the FD. But I mean, he just showed us how to defend it right there. And I mean, you can basically watch this VOD, study it, and you'll be able to defend FD too.
Would you go so far as to call that defensive FD like an FD defense clinic?
I would.
All right, good to know. So watch this VOD over and over. That is exactly how you defend against that with one gate, and he microed it perfectly. It was really beautiful play. And now we see back at home in Brat's base, he is getting an armory right away. He's got 2 add-ons already, getting his siege mode, and he has an e-base, so he is playing super safe here. It looks like he is going to go for the very quick upgrades, you know, some sort of flash variant build, and he's getting that extremely quick turret to detect any DTs, you know, maybe stop any sort of shuttle foolishness, you know, anything like that. And meanwhile, Dreiven, he's just pumping his units off of 3 gates. He has got observers coming out, so it looks like he may want to go over there, pressure, clear out the spider mines, and see what to do from there, because right now he's playing pretty blind.
We can see he's actually got a Citadel done, and he's starting his Templar archives. He's got observers out, but no shuttle yet, so this could be some sort of mid-game Dark Templar in the middle of the map, or it could be a DT drop. We can see Brat has turrets defending his natural quite well. No turrets in the main yet, but he may need to put them. And one thing to note is Brat has actually mined up all the expansions of the eastern side. So Brad OK is looking to shut down a 3rd base, and it's really annoying if Dreiven sends a probe out there without observer support, gets killed by the vulture, or it can't put up an expansion because you can't place buildings on top of mines, of course. Just really nice play by Brad OK to delay that 3rd expansion as much as he can.
Alright, now we see Dreiven getting a little down and dirty here. He's pumping some DTs out of his gates while making a shuttle, so we are going to see a DT drop coming up pretty quickly here. And Brat, he does not have any scanners yet, and well, the Academy is making, it's about halfway done, and he does have some turrets laid around his base. It looks like he has 3 right now, and they're in very good position, so I'm unsure how much damage this DT drop's going to do, but definitely some, because, I mean, those things do 40 damage a swipe.
You sound quite bitter, but moving on, we have Ionic Storm researching at the Templar archives for Dreiven. High Templar coming out, so this could be some sort of 2 Dark Templar, 2 High Templar drop, Storm drop along with the Dark Templar. I'm not sure, but that would be a really interesting build. We're gonna have to see. The shuttle is flying around in the center. Not sure what it's doing there. It's now coming home. It's got 2 Dark Templar and a Zealot. Probably coming back to pick up these High Templar. We're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, he's waiting an awfully long time with these DTs in the shuttle. It's interesting to see what he has planned here, and it does look like you're right there. He is picking up a High Templar, and Storm is almost done, and that High Templar has 75 mana now, so both of them do. So he's going to have 2 Psy Storms and 2 Dark Templars, and definitely he's going to be able to do some sort of damage with this. If he can really injure the economy of Brat, while Brat is going for a 6-fact build, that's going to be just huge, because Brat's build right here, I mean, looks like he's waiting for this +1, and he's just going to hit a certain number of tanks and just pump pure Vulture and try to kill Dreiven off of 2 bases. That's his plan, at least. But if Dreiven kills a lot of his economy, it's just not going to work. He's not going to have the money to support these 6 factories. So this drop is absolutely critical.
It actually looks like he's using the shuttle defensively. We can see Vultures coming in now. Dreiven tried to take the expansion at 3 o'clock, but that Vulture shut that probe down pretty easily. Dreiven has delayed his 3rd base quite a bit, and Vultures move into the main. Zealots come in to block that. A single Vulture gets through. It's got no mines. It's picking off the gateway, and now it's moving on to the main. It looks like it's going to get quite a few probe kills, actually. But Brad OK is not looking at it. Unfortunately, it gets taken out. That could have done a little more damage, but now that Dreiven secured his main from expansion, secured his side of the map, he's probably going to look to expand, possibly double expand, since he's delayed his 3rd base so much.
You know, that was a critical Vulture getting in there. Brat, as I can see watching him play, he is a very smart player. He saw 7 gateways for Dreiven off of 2 base. When you see 7 gateways off of 2 base for a Protoss player, you just sit there as Terran. You just sit there and defend, because they are not working on their economy at all, and they're going to do some sort of big attack if you let them. So don't move out, set up, get into a nice defensive position, and you're going to pull ahead. And we see that is exactly what Brat's doing. Although he opened up with the 6-fact, he is not attacking with it, as Dreiven may be expecting from a weaker Terran. Brat is being extremely smart. He's setting up some spider mines, setting up some turrets, and he's taking an expo at the same time at 9 o'clock, that mineral only, that is so far away from Dreiven. There's nothing he's going to be able to do to it for now. So Brat looking in excellent condition going into the mid-game.
Yeah, Dreiven has scouted that 9 o'clock base with an observer there. He also has denied Brad OK has denied Dreiven's base at the 3 o'clock twice with that Vulture, and that's really delayed. Dreiven now moving in, losing a few Dragoons and taking some Zealot hits to a mine. Little unfortunate, but Brat sees that coming now and is jostling his army to the 9 o'clock position. Looks like he's going to set up his defense there. Unfortunately, this map is quite open. Can be difficult if Dreiven decides to move back and forth for Brat to defend everything. He's got his tanks clumped together. That could be a disaster, given that these Templar clearly have 150 mana at this point. They could be able to cast 2 storms each, and that's going to be devastating. And Dreiven looks like he's going to decide to move in. Quite a few mines are drawing fire from the Dragoons. The Zealots all get stuffed. Not many make it out. The Dark Templar get dropped. Now the High Templar in. Are they going to storm? No storm yet. First storm on a tank. Second storm. And Dreiven is still pushing in. Wow. Brat is going to have to bring in some more reinforcements, and indeed he is. Here comes some tanks up, but Dark Templar, High Templar, Dragoons are helping clean up against these unsieged tanks. A lot of problems for Brad OK at this point. He's trying to siege and slowly push back towards his natural. If he's not careful, he's going to lose this command center. He's not lifting it. He's still trying to keep it mining. And good defense by him, not rushing everything in. He's slowly bringing his army back. Dreiven does seem set on trying to kill this, and he's actually got it in the red. Surprisingly, Brad has now realized it. He's moved in to repair it, and Dreiven gets it down to 150 HP before Dreiven is forced to retreat.
Now that was just a beautiful attack there by Dreiven. Brat was setting up to go into the lead, and Dreiven just went and said, nope, nope, nope. And that is so painful for Brat. He's now way far behind. Dreiven is up over 40 supply here on him. And what can Brat do in this situation exactly? Well, you know, he can either just mass up and try to do a really strong attack and rely on Dreiven slipping up, or he can go into a long turtley game where, you know, he just takes bases, pushes across the map slowly. But Dreiven has forced him to a decision, so it's going to depend upon what Brat chooses and how well they both execute against each other.
We can see actually a Stargate up for Dreiven now in his main base. He's probably going to move towards Arbiters, given that he already has the Templar Archives. Dreiven now moving across the middle of the map towards 9 o'clock again. Brat is sending up his Vultures to help defend that, just laying mines, which takes the damage while the tanks deal it. He has quite a few tanks, actually. He should be able to defend this easily if he gets set up in the proper position. But it's just unfortunate, given that he's going to have to play defensively for the next 5 or 10 minutes. And that gives Dreiven access to take this double gas as he is at the 3 o'clock. And that double gas is going to be huge when his Arbiter Tribunal finishes.
It is, and we see that Dreiven is just toying with Brat now, running around, clearing spider mines, making Brat move over and over and over. Every time that Dreiven moves his army around, Brat has to unsiege and move his units to defend it. This is a long map and a lot of paths all over the place. And now we see a shuttle going into Brat's natural here. It's got 3 High Templars and a Zealot in it, and here we go. He drops his Zealot to draw fire, side storms the SCVs. Looks like he kills about 3 right there with the first one. Not too successful so far. Storms a couple tanks, just damages them and loses everything the shuttle. Very nice reaction speed there from Brat. He held that very well. It didn't do nearly as much damage as it could have done.
And just to give you an update on the map, these double gas expansions on Wuthering Heights, these inside 4 expansions, which both have 2 geysers each, they only contain 1,500 gas as opposed to 5,000 in a standard geyser. So when we see someone take that, they're going to have tons of gas for a while, and then once it gets depleted and you only get 2 gas per trip as opposed to 8, your gas production will get shut down pretty quickly. We see a pylon started at top right, clearly to stop vulture raids, and Dreiven is going to be looking to take that top right base. He sends in a Zealot just to clear out the mine, and now he's probably going to be expanding to that base.
You know, right now we see that Brat is macroing very well. He's got, it looks like 8 factories right now. He's got a couple armories going, and he is moving across the bottom of the map. This is going to be just a huge tech. It's going to be very hard to break. And Dreiven is up for the challenge. He's coming right down. A ton of speed zealots, a ton of Dragoons. Dreiven already maxed. Brat sitting tight at 170 or so. And here he goes. The mines are not laid up yet, and Dreiven decides this is the time. He runs in. The Zealots just vaporize. They just absolutely vaporize. And Dreiven has got to retreat, and he knows that he pulls back before losing too much. That was a really nice attack right there by Brat. Dreiven did not deal with it quite right, and he is really not in that good a position anymore. Brat is moving forward, being extremely aggressive here, and Dreiven goes right up as soon as they unsiege, picks off a few units, and pulls back. This is exactly what you're supposed to do when the Terran is ahead on a huge push with a lot of tanks here, folks. Watch this closely. Dreiven's playing very well right now, but Brat is looking in good position, pushing up once again. He just keeps sieging. He's leapfrogging now, leapfrogging his tanks forward, keeping some siege behind, moving the others forward, and just repeating over and over. He's going to get right up into the natural Dreiven. If he gets all the way to that natural, it's going to be lights out for Dreiven. His gates are all going to be cut off from the world, and he's not going to be able to get anything out. And that is exactly what Brat's going for. He's sieging up right there. You can see the choke, how close it is to those tanks. An Arbiter just popping out here for Dreiven, and things are starting to turn around and look very good for Brat.
Yeah, Brat's attack came at the magic timing before the Arbiter gets done. Dreiven decides to move in, tries to mine drag. Unfortunately, the mine doesn't go up, and he's left with only Dragoons, which are just getting cleaned up at this point by siege tank fire and harassing vultures. At this point, his natural has been all but cut off, despite having the the Arbiter. We can see that Brat OK actually has 3 scanners, so he should be good to go for detection for quite some time. Zealots flooding in, they get taken out quite easily, and Dreiven's natural is now cut off. They'll have to reinforce from the main. A mine takes out quite a few Dragoons there. Siege tank fire, he's not scanning, unfortunately. Brat is losing quite a few tanks to just a few Dragoons. Mine goes off, splashes a few tanks. Another mine takes out the Dragoons. Brat realizes, and all those tanks are basically in the ideal position. Dreiven cannot get his reinforcements out of his main, and that's really unfortunate for Dreiven. He's got quite a few units queued up in many of his gateways. We can see he is panicking a little bit. Psystorm trying to clear some of those mines, but it looks really bad, and he actually leaves the game. Wow, Brat OK is going to take the first game on Wuthering Heights.
You know, Brat played just brilliantly there. I mean, he lost a huge portion of his army really early on to Dreiven's beautiful use of storms in that shuttle, but he just came right back. He just macroed, and piled right in, and that is just a beautiful show of exactly how you play in that behind position.
Yeah,
I thought his reclaiming his second natural, I thought was excellent. As Chill was saying in the cast, he didn't just rush the rest of his vultures and tanks back into the maw. He set up, placed a couple turrets, repaired his command center barely, and laid mines and really took it back with force rather than losing too much more of his army.
Indeed, he did. That was very good play there by Brad. I'm very excited to see this next game. It's going to be on Blue Storm, it looks like. And Blue Storm, it is a little bit Protoss favored. Carriers are extremely good on this map, but if Brat can cut it in half before the carriers come, he's going to be in a pretty good position.
Yeah, of course there is that position. If you can get your tanks into the gully in the center of the map, you can actually hit the Protoss natural from outside in the center of the map, which, Protoss builds on this map are going to look specifically to stop that from happening. Generally, Protoss deals with it opening Reaver, just using Reaver harassment to keep Terran in their base, and then going straight into carriers. Of course, carriers are quite strong on this map just because of all the terrain and all the high ground that they can hide behind and hit units while not being hit themselves.
Yeah, that sweet spot is very important just because there's such a small investment involved in that. It only takes a few spider mines for defense, a scan or a floating building for vision, and one or two tanks, and you can shut down the most important expansion for the Protoss in the whole map. So again, that sweet spot, really the early and mid game revolves around that for sure. But if Terran can divide his map in half, he'll be in good position to fight against the inevitable carriers should we get that far.
Yeah, and it looks like in the TSL it is 7-6 so far, PVT. So Protoss has one game on Terran so far, but for all intents and purposes it is balanced, and it looks like we're ready to go on Blue Storm. So hit it.